Hello, I am Nancy Bott, the president-elect of Plato, and I'm pinch hitting for Jen Moulton, who is out of the country. We're happy to welcome all of you here. For those of you who are guests, as opposed to being Plato members, just a few words about Plato. We were founded in 1980. We have about 440 members, and we share a common interest in continuing to learn, no matter how old we are. I would now like to turn this over to Richard Adler, who has put together another marvelous colloquia for us.
Thank you, Nancy. I want to welcome everyone here to our Plato 2016-2017 series of colloquiums. This is the third one. All of our colloquiums are on Thursdays. Our next colloquium will be on Thursday, January 19. Our lecturer will be the distinguished UCLA professor John Villasenor on the subject of driverless automobiles, a topic dear to the heart of all LA drivers and freeway drivers, and if you ever took a Uber, I guess, even driverless Ubers, he'll be talking about the ethics of that, all the issues involved in driverless cars. Our speaker today is Malissa Shriver, and she has brought some of her children from her arts program with her, and we'll hear from the kids in a few minutes. They're going to have a choir, and that's why we have the riser here, so we have 2 levels and an accompanist. Melissa was born Melissa Ferruzzi. She is a California native. She grew up around artists. Her father is a painter and a sculptor. In terms of education, she attended UCLA, where she earned a degree in women's studies in 1989. Melissa then attended the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. She has an honorary doctorate from Laguna College of Art and Design. She is a member of the Screen Actors Guild, Arts for LA, California Arts Advocates, and Americans for the Arts. Melissa's parents pressured her to earn a practical degree that would keep her financially secure. However, she chose a different route. "I was an artist. I never thought I would be a politician," she said. Turns out 2005 was a big year for Melissa. In 2005, Melissa married attorney, producer, and member of the extended Kennedy family, Bobby Shriver. Bobby was here today, but he left. He had another engagement. Bobby was a member of the Santa Monica City Council from 2004 to 2012 and served as mayor in 2006 and 2010. Bobby and Melissa have 2 children. Also in 2005, Melissa was appointed by her brother-in-law, then Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, as chair of the California Arts Council. The California Arts Council is a state agency whose mission is to advance the arts in California. The council is largely funded by California Arts license plates. Melissa served 2 terms on the Arts Council. Melissa Shriver has tirelessly defended the arts, having been involved with many advocacy groups such as the California Alliance for Arts Education, the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies, and the Western States Art Federation. Melissa has said that art advocates have done a poor job in this country. Melissa warns, it is sad a lot of these kids don't have an advocate. The future of this country is at risk. As Melissa's term was ending on the Arts Council in 2011, she met the renowned architect Frank Gehry at a dinner party. "I want to do something in the arts education," Gehry told her, "but it had to be big, Shriver big," he added jokingly. To illustrate the scale he had in mind, he mentioned that he had recently visited Venezuela, where he had witnessed El Sistema, the country's extraordinary musical education program that involves poor children in the orchestra. Gustavo Dudamel also came from that program as well. It's a model for everyone, Gary said. Fortunately, Malissa Shriver knew of an emerging project close to the heart of First Lady Michelle Obama, Turnaround Arts Program, which is targeted at underserved and underperforming elementary schools. In 2011, the program was operative in 8 states. Shriver lobbied for California to become the 9th. In May 2014, the California branch of Turnaround Arts was launched at a White House ceremony during which President Obama and the First Lady spoke. Malissa Shriver is the director of Turnaround Arts Program in California. The program is housed in offices at Gary Partners on Beatrice Street in Los Angeles. More impressive than Melissa's resume is the fact that during her career as a vanguard of the arts, she has never been paid for her work, sacrificing her own happiness and leisure time to tackle the problem of ineffective and outdated arts education. Although art programs have been universally cut around the nation, Melissa says that what art is and how important it is misunderstood and undervalued. It's about our values. You don't invest in what you don't value. I know it will take some time away from my kids and my painting, but it's worth it, she admits. And before I turn this over to Melissa, I just wanted to say when we get to the question and answer period, if we could just have questions. And I know you're going to want to talk about personal stories. If we could just have questions, we'll all move along a lot faster. So with that, I'll turn this over to Melissa.
Oh my God, that was such a fancy introduction. I'm really not that accomplished or smart, and I do get paid now, which is exciting. So Frank did hire me in 2014, but prior to that, I wasn't getting paid. And I think I have the real directors of this program, Dr. Yamamoto, Zipporah Yamamoto, who's our program director, who's actually running this program, and Jacob Campbell, who is running everything for us. So I just was kind of the agitator who got this thing set up. And let's play the video. This is a video that we did for the White House May of this year.
Sometimes at night, now I can be home. My own beliefs are in my song. But you're the bacon from early. Makes no difference what you find. Sometimes I'm right, I can be wrong. My own
Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the program, what we're actually doing, not just making music videos with famous artists. So this was started by the President's Committee on the Humanities, which Mrs. Obama is the honorary chairwoman of, and they wanted to do something involving the arts in low-performing schools. It started with a study that they commissioned, which found that the students who benefit the most from arts education are often the students that get the least. So the students in the very, very low-performing schools, this program is only for schools in the lowest 5% nationally. So these are schools that are eligible for federal SIG grants. SIG is an acronym standing for School Improvement Grants. So they thought, what if we took those same federal funds from the US DOE, SIG funds, and did something different? And we did arts education in these low-performing schools, and let's see if we could outperform those schools. So they found that arts education, this was their theory, was that it's not just a flower, it's not a fun thing, it's not an elective, it's actually an important part of the core curriculum, which is deemed by the federal government and the state of California, it's a core subject, meaning it's actually illegal not to teach the arts in school, just as is English or math or anything else. So Turnaround Arts, the national program, started in 2011 with 8 schools. These are the original 8 schools. So there was none in California, and at the time I was the chair of the California Arts Council, and I thought, what a great program this would be for our state. We should get this. So now it's in 68 schools, 33,000 students, 36 school districts in 15 states, including DC. So Turnaround Arts California, as you heard, was launched in 2014 because of Frank Gehry. We run that out of Gehry Partners. We have 3 employees and no rent. And so when you think about like a really lean running nonprofit, we are the poster child for that. These are the 10 schools we started with. Oh no, this is the 16. So we started with 10. The upper northern is the Humboldt, it's called the Hoopa Indian Reservation. And then we have all through the Central Valley and the Bay Area and the Monterey Peninsula, and then coming into LA, San Bernardino, Stockton, Avenal, San Diego. This is our San Diego school, Burbank Elementary. Avenal Elementary, Kings County, more rural. We purposefully, when we chose these schools, wanted to vary the demographics, both geographically, because we have state funding as well as federal funding. We got a grant from our state arts council, and then we paired that with private money, Herb Alpert, Michael Eisner, and Monica Rosenthal, and that was our initial launch money. Avenal is one of the schools, we wanted urban schools, we wanted rural schools, we wanted a reservation school, we wanted to isolate the variables so that if anybody ever asked us, well, obviously this arts program worked because it was in the Bay Area, we could say, no, it actually worked in Avenal as well. Barton Elementary, San Bernardino. Warren Lane, Inglewood. Meadow Homes, Concord. Another Burbank Elementary. We have 2 Burbank schools, and neither are in Burbank. Hayward, which is the Bay Area there. Fremont Lopez and Stockton. They have an incredible mariachi band now. Mary Chapa Academy in Greenfield. These are parents who are Oaxacan, who came off of the fields that day in traditional Oaxacan garb to perform for their kids. Hoopa Valley Elementary, this is our reservation school. There's Frank. We're doing an architectural project there with the students. Dr. Martin Luther King in Compton. These are the children on the poster who performed at the White House in May. Cohort 2 schools, we added Costaño School in East Palo Alto. That school is being funded by Facebook now, so we're kind of very excited about promoting this idea of STEAM and the potent combination of arts education with technology. Martin Luther King Jr., so we have 2 Martin Luther King Jr.'s now, and this one is in Seaside, Monterey Peninsula. Florence Griffith Joyner Elementary School in LA, which is the lowest performing school in all of LAUSD, this school in Watts, which is such a beautiful school, and the people who work there. All of these schools are incredible. Willard Intermediate is performing for you today. Their concert choir will be performing after my little presentation. Whaley Middle School in Compton and Sierra Prep Academy in Santa Ana. Both Willard and Sierra Prep in Santa Ana are the 2 lowest performing schools in Santa Ana Unified. So this is a mission statement. The strategic use of the arts. I would just say about this slide that we don't do the same thing in every school. Each school does a detailed strategic plan, and they are very specific about what issues they're dealing with, whether it's attendance or discipline. Whatever specific thing they are struggling with, we craft our arts strategies around that. So every one is very personal to that particular school, and it is tweaked along the way. So it's a 3-year program. The SIG grant program was a 3-year program. It was $6 million federal money for low-performing schools over 3 years to get out of federal turnaround. So we built the same timeline, 3 years, to get out of turnaround status, which is the low-performing bottom 5%. And now we're kind of doing a sustained release 4- and 5-year, because we felt that it just wasn't enough to stay there for just the 3 years. The turnaround arts pillars, these are the things that are really essential to the turnaround. Obviously, the principal, the arts specialists, the classroom teachers. Arts specialists, by that I mean credentialed art teachers, a credentialed music teacher, credentialed visual art teacher. Classroom teachers, so that would be the homeroom teacher in 3rd grade. The 4th, and then teaching artists and community arts organizations. We hire a lot of nonprofits, and we do asset mapping around each site. So we bring in teaching artists and organizations like the Getty and LACMA and LA Phil and the Music Center, and we bring those assets to the schools to connect them. Districts, parents, communities, strategic arts planning, professional development, and school environment. The principal is obviously key, because the principal is leading this, change at the school and promoting it. And we don't take a school without the principal and the district superintendent signing on. And the district has to put money in. We don't just come with our goodies. We want the districts to have skin in the game, so that that's a much more sustainable model. The art specialists, the classroom teachers, the teaching artists, parents and community members, and then the comprehensive strategic approach and professional development. We do a lot of professional development. That's really, I'd say, one of our biggest investments is in training teachers across all grade levels to do not just discrete arts education, but actually arts integration. We'll say a little more about arts integration here coming up, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what that means. So support, resources, tools, approaches, there's national and local support, so there are communities of learning. So the principals, we send all of our teachers, our arts leadership teams and principals, to Virginia every summer to do extensive training, leadership training, and they learn from each other and they can call each other. So if our principal in Compton wants to talk to the principal in Connecticut, she calls that principal and they talk about things they're dealing with that might be similar. Regional coaching. This was a really great innovation that our program director, Zipporah Yamamoto, came up with, which was, if you really want to be sustainable across California, it's a long way from San Diego to our Indian reservation. It almost takes a full day to get to that reservation school. So and we wanted to have a high-touch program. So one of the things we did was we actually hired and paid regional partners to be on the ground in these schools weekly, bi-monthly, and they do extensive arts integration work in the schools. So these people are really boots on the ground, and also the key to the long-term sustainability of this, because obviously we're situated at Gary Partners in LA, and these folks are in the local community seeing the impact of it and invested in it surviving long-term. Training and professional development. The Kennedy Center's definition for arts integration. So this is really an interesting thing, because I've heard people say, oh, it's just teaching math artfully, or it's actually, you demonstrate the understanding through an art form, and it connects the art form. So if you're learning biology and you're doing visual art dioramas of the biological processes, you're learning it in a deeper way. And there's a lot of neuroscience out now on cognition and how emotion is involved in very deep learning. They're doing incredible work right now at USC, at the Center for the Brain and Creativity, also at UCLA. And so there's a lot of neuroscientific backup for the efficacy of this kind of approach. Then the turnaround artists, you saw those artists in the video, you saw Yo-Yo Ma. This was sort of supposed to be the frosting on the cake. The President's Committee had these members, Yo-Yo Ma, Forrest Whitaker, Kerry Washington. These people were appointees, and they wanted them to be involved in this because the President's Committee launched this program, so they thought, oh, how fun, we'll have these artists go visit the schools, and it'll be really great and exciting for the schools. And what I think they underestimated was how impactful having an iconic artist be associated with your school. So the artists come once, twice a year, depending on what their schedule is. Some come a lot more than once or twice a year, and they Skype, and they provide all kinds of goodies for them. This is Jesse Tyler Ferguson at Avenal. And the schools that have been known forever as being low-performing, kind of black eyes on the community now have become very, very special. And it generates press and attention and partnerships, and it's really been an incredible component having the artists, the turnaround artists. Art supplies we have donated by Crayola and various other entities, musical instruments from NAM, the National Association of Music Merchants, I'm sorry. Here's Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I like that he's wearing a Bruins hat. And he is working with his kids. He got a lot of musical instruments donated for his school as well. Musical theater rights and kits we get donated. So all the schools do a musical every year. We're going to have them all do Hamilton next year, because it'll be at the Pantages, and I'm going to get those kids into the Pantages and perform that. Community engagement grants. So we do, we hire all kinds of organizations around LA that many of you probably know, PS Arts and so forth. High-profile school events. This is the chairman of the NEA, Dr. Jane Chu, visiting our school in Compton. Here's outcomes. We're going to talk about outcomes. See, remember I told you about the SIG grant schools? This is an improvement that we're having in our schools, and then we're going to compare this to the SIG schools. Look at the difference. The yellow bar are the SIG grants, $6 million over 3 years. That's how they performed in the yellow. And we spend closer to $300,000 over 3 years. And look at ours in the red. I mean, it's staggering, and it tells me that it's not a money problem. You don't throw money at something broken. It doesn't fix it. It's a quality, well, I was saying to Frank the other day, what should we tell the reporter? And he said, tell him a little love goes a long way. These are discipline results. These are really dramatic. There's been a lot of talk about restorative justice in these schools where there's, a lot of violence and children who are living in poverty so there's a lot of talk about trauma-informed practice and art therapy and the impact of art therapy. So discipline has been a real profound indicator of success. These are early results. You can see parent engagement is up. Obviously, if you're having a school musical, all the parents suddenly show up. In these schools, they often didn't have any parents show up because there was nothing happy to hear. Enrollment is up at our schools because suddenly now they have a presidential banner and it's a big deal, and parents now want their kids to go to that school. Obviously, school climate and culture is improved. We've been doing a lot of murals. These are our kids in San Bernardino working with Autumn DeForest. They were doing a self-portrait project. The New York Times covered this, actually. And you can imagine what the kids in San Bernardino have been living through. Engaged, motivated students and community, parent engagement, it's obvious that parents are going to show up a lot more. Staff ownership, collaboration, and leadership. This is great because teachers now feel that they're doing something really great, and they're, coordinating. The third grade teacher is working with the second grade teacher, working with the fifth grade teacher. Rigorous and dynamic instruction. So it's really a question of what is the nature of learning and what is the nature of teaching. And it's not memorization. That was a huge failure. failure, right? So the No Child Left Behind policies, which really narrowed the curriculum to English and math, have been, a pretty terrible, they've had a terrible result all across the spectrum, but particularly in these low-performing schools where they narrowed it to just basically English and math, and often double-blocked kids and took away every other course, civics, everything. Methodology, we have the Kennedy Center trainers doing all kinds of work with Tableau and lots of very innovative kind of front-edge teaching strategies, which are arts-integrated learning strategies. Whole school change, that's kind of what we're going for, and that's what the meaning of school turnaround should be. Dr. Martin Luther King in Compton, here's some of the outcomes there: attendance, engagement, arts-integrated instruction. Like this school, for instance, had never had an art teacher in the history of the school. The lowest performing school in Compton. Turnaround artists, so you can see there Jane Fonda, Forrest Whitaker, Cameron Diaz, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Whoopi Goldberg, Jackson Brown, Carla Durlikov, who's a opera singer, Jason Mraz, Tim Robbins, Kerry Washington, Nigel Lithgow, Rashida Jones, Russell Simmons, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith, Mark Anthony, Herbie Hancock. Oops, my slide went away. And that's it. So that's the presentation, and now I guess I will introduce our kids. This is the concert choir from Willard Intermediate in Santa Ana, and they're going to perform some holiday songs for you.
Always sounds Now we have a couple of solos, Aaliyah, Lucero, and Alicia. Thank you very much for having us.
One candle, one light, burning clear throughout the night. One candle, one symbol of peace. One candle plus one, now a glimmer has begun. Two candles, two symbols of peace. Donna Nobis passion. In the glow of candlelight I see. Donna Nobis passion. Peace for you and me. 3 candles and 4, shining stronger than before. 5 candles, 6 candles burn bright. More candles each candle increasing the light. Donna Nobis passion. In the glow of candlelight I see. Donna Nobis passion. Peace for you and me. Your candlelight with mine will radiate and shine, growing stronger for all the world to see. You and me, Donna Nobis passion. In the glow of candlelight I see. Donna Nobis passion. Peace for you and me. Peace for you and me. Peace.
We're now in the question and answer period, and again, I remind you just to ask questions, and the kids will be here for a while, so Melissa is going to be around longer than that, so like if we have some questions that you want to address to the children, this would be the time to do it. So does anybody just have a question they wanted to ask?
Yeah, could 2 or 3 of the children tell us what the program means to them? What is brought to your school to have this program?
Go ready. What does it mean to you? No right or wrong here.
I think it's cool we have a program here, and
Why do you like music so much?
I've been in it since Wilson, and I've done it all my time
How does
here.
it make you feel?
It, it releases stress off me. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else? No one? Well, I have a question. I have a question about cursive handwriting. Do they still teach cursive handwriting anymore, or what?
Handwriting?
So how do you write anything? Like if you wanted to write a letter or something? You don't write letters. All right. Well, I thought cursive was important, but okay. All right. Anybody else with a question?
What approximately age levels are you? What grade are you in?
I can answer that one. We are a mix in this class of 7th and 8th grade. I believe, how many of you are 12? 12, 13, 14, is it 15? No, around 12 to 14. How many of you is your first year in choir? First year. Second year? And third year? That's a big mix, but this is my more advanced group, so I get to push them a little harder.
Can any one of the children say how this particular program has helped them in other classes? Has it helped you with math? Has it helped you with English? Don't be afraid.
We did a play last year of Charlie Brown musical with our past 8th graders and 7th graders and 6th graders. It's helped because now from the musical, our teacher, Miss Beltran, she taught us more music, so we know how to read music more. So.
Do you feel like it's helping in any other classes? Like, do you feel like you can?
Well, music has helped me in...
Wait, what's your name?
My name is Alondra Rosales. Music has helped me in language arts because music gets stuck in my head and just plays in my mind.
Calm.
Yeah, it gets me calm.
Okay, Sue is asking whether being involved in this program has made them want to learn a musical instrument, learn how to play a musical instrument, right?
Well, in 7th grade, I played the mallets, but then I switched to choir because I liked choir better, but the mallets are also fun too. And, huh?
You've done both?
Yeah, I've done both before.
Oh.
Hi, my name is Lisbeth, and in 6th grade I played the clarinet, and now I joined choir.
And what do you like better?
I like both of them.
A diplomat.
Oh,
What is your name?
my name is Kiana. Yeah, I played the same class with her for for clarinet in 6th grade. I like choir better. Yeah.
And then Kiana is also involved in dance. We have a dance club. How many other of you guys are involved in dance club? How many of you guys did the musical last year? We did a first full musical. The same kids you see in like the choir class are the same kids that want to be involved, and they'll switch between band, and we have a drum line, and do the musical and do dance. But this is what their day kind of consists of, and you hear a lot of them talk about how it's stress, it relieves stress. I think that's one of the biggest advantages, the biggest benefits that they get out of it. I'm just taking over, sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a more general question. I think we've all been impressed with how the program has led to learning a lot about music, whether it's playing instruments or being in the choir. And we've been told about how the program has helped elevate scores in math and reading. But what I'm curious about is how has the program helped you in gaining confidence in general?
My name's Alicia Flores. Being in choir has gained my confidence, and for the new Turnaround Arts program. The Turnaround Arts program is helping us more like get into new activities and to getting to know other people. So it's more like cooperating with others. So it's helping us with other classes to cooperate with other students.
What is your name?
My name is Santiago.
Okay. The piano player.
Yeah. The Turnaround Arts program has really helped us, well, me mostly. Before I couldn't even do this, like perform in front of an audience. Like, I don't know, it just helped me gain confidence.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one older sister and one little brother.
And has this affected them? To see you go through this?
I don't think so.
In your own private lives, first of all, do you speak another language, and is there other music you hear at home? And secondly, what's your favorite kind of music? If you could sing it all the time, what would be the favorite kind of music you'd sing?
Oh, okay. What is your name?
My name is Ruby.
Go ahead.
Do you speak another language?
Yes, I speak Spanish. And if my favorite kind of music is pop. That's what I would like to sing most, if I can.
I speak Spanish as well. My name is Mark Felix. I speak Spanish as well. And my favorite kind of music is rap. And I'm actually pretty good at it. Make you feel great inside.
What percentage of the school is involved in the arts program?
Maybe my principal can answer that. I know I have about...
How many are in the arts program
100,
besides this course?
150, about 280 students, so is that roughly almost 30%?
Very good.
30% of our student population is involved in, and that's not including our after-school dance club. We'll also have, I think, about 60 members. And then we'll have a musical this year, and kids that get to be involved in those. And we have fine arts as well, visual arts, and I don't know their numbers, but so we're looking probably like 40% of our students at that point. Yeah.
You are to be congratulated.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to just see a show of hands. How many people feel that since they've been learning vocal music and instrumental music, it has helped your math classes? One hand. Oh, two hands, three hands. Okay, thank you very much. I'm an educator.
How has this affected your behavior? For example, do you now get into less trouble and you know, all of these kinds of things?
Anybody want to take that? No one?
So, yo?
Go ahead.
It has helped me a lot with my behavior because I used to get in trouble a lot in 7th grade. Now that I came in, choir changed me a lot for me because I need to pay attention to the teacher, and I mostly never do. then forgot.
Thank you. Do we have some questions for Melissa?
I heard a lot of you ask about the math question in particular because it is kind of a counterintuitive idea, like why would that help with math? I think across the national program, there's been a lot of, sometimes just kids being in school, being on time, you know, helps them they're going to do better in math class because they're actually there. So I think some of that, you know, is related to the increases in attendance and the, you know, reduction in tardies. But I would say specifically, like at our Compton School, Martin Luther King, the math teacher there did a fractions section with drumming. And they just made drums out of paint cans and duct tape. And he said he had never seen more than 80% of the kids in a class pass, let alone get A's, and so many of them did so well with the drumming and fractions because it kind of made it more obvious to them, the concept, it made it real. And there's been also a lot of studies I've seen recently on kinesthetic learning and math, so that would be dance and theater, because it makes sense, right? You're counting your steps for dance, and so there's a lot of studies out of UCI, a researcher named Leanne Brulette, who is has done, the whole body of her research is on kinesthetic learning and English language acquisition as well. I think you heard one of the students say it's helped her with English, because many of these students, English is not their first language. And the more you're learning your lines in a play, you're motivated to learn your lines, you have to speak them in front of an audience, much like singing. It forces you to learn a language in a way that is unlike just sitting in a class and listening.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious about the ratio, the ratio of your program between charter schools and regular public schools.
We have both. We have both.
50-50, would you say?
Not quite that, no. It's more public schools.
Great.
The Chicago State program is run out of AUSL, which is a charter organization, and the Louisiana program is run by a charter organization. So we do have both.
Yeah, and the same brain paths are used for math and music, and it's been studied for about 50 years. It's just wonderful to see this.
Oh, and
Thank
these
you
kids
so
are also in
much.
middle school, so they're kind of shy, you know.
They were terrific. You did a great job.
There's a question right there.
No, I think she was next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My question is relevant to a statement you in your presentation about not teaching art is it's illegal, I think is what you said. Is that uniform in all schools, that it's mandatory to teach
in
art?
states where it is deemed core subject material. In fact, there's a guy, what is his name, Carl? There was a piece on KPCC recently about this. A man looked up the California Ed Code and saw that it was in fact illegal not to teach art. And that is why Senator Ben Allen just passed that bill which restores dance and theater credentials in California. We were one of only 3 states, I believe, that didn't have dance or theater credentials. So for theater, if you wanted to teach theater in a class, you had to have an English teacher because there were no theater teachers, which is one of the reasons theater education is down to, I think, 12% of students nationwide get theater education now. And dance is even worse because it was PE teachers teaching dance. And so if you're a football coach or something, you're not going to teach dance, right? So dance education, I think, was down, I saw a statistic that was 3%. So this advocacy that's been kind of brewing for the last 10 years in California has led to some improvements in delivering. It's one of those unfunded mandates. It's like it's illegal not to teach it, but there's no punitive measure if you don't teach it, right? It's just the kids that suffer. Like, think how all those kids who have those beautiful voices and they had no opportunity to do that. You know, it's just so sad.
The football coach teaching dance reminds me of that hippo scene from Fantasia, you know.
Right.
They're all dancing. Next question.
Yes. Now that you've had, through the expansion of the program, both statistical and more subjective validation of your premise, have you given some thought to the deployment of distance learning technology and methodologies in order to impact greater numbers of students on a more cost-effective basis?
Yes, that's an excellent question. One of the things that we've been considering in terms of scaling our organization, because like I said, we have 3 employees and we're in the partners library, Gary Partners, and now we're kind of maxed out with the staff ratio we have. The regional partner program has allowed us to kind of have more capacity, but USC has been talking to us about taking our nonprofit into the university, and that would be something we would be doing through USC, kind of in a cross-curricular partnership with the Rossier School of Education and I think the School of Social Work, actually, because we do so much trauma-informed work. So we would do that, which would also diversify. You know, if you're a nonprofit, you're just asking people to write you checks, right? It's like, it would be really smart to diversify our funding. Yes?
How does it bother you that you have to all Does it bother you that you have to all the time be justifying?
All the time, yes.
Because what drives me crazy is that art is so much worth doing for itself.
Right.
And if it weren't shown to be actually harmful,
right,
it should be done.
I couldn't agree more. I went to a low-performing school in Alhambra. That's where I was born. And it's called Fremont Elementary School. Heavy gang activity, a very kind of dangerous neighborhood at the point where my parents left. And I went to elementary school in the 60s and the 70s in California when we really had a lot of arts education in even low-performing schools. Every school had a theater. Every school had a kiln. We did ceramics. So I feel, and my parents were not wealthy people, and I feel that I was given something by the state of California that these children don't have access to, and if I have a fancy last name and I can call the governor, I'm damn well going to call the governor, on their behalf. So.
I do have a question about funding, because it was started under this federal program. Is
Yes.
there any federal dollars, and if so, do you know the future of that?
Yes.
With the changes in Washington?
Yeah, good question. We started with federal Department of Ed money that was SIG money. Then we got some money from early childhood education. So that federal money goes to all the national schools. Some comes to California. It's not much. It's like, I want to say, not really positive, but it's somewhere in the range of 10,000 to 25,000 for our state program. Most state programs have 3 schools. We're running 16 schools, so it's a small amount of money. If it went away, it wouldn't affect our program. We got 300,000 from the California State Arts Council, and then we got 300,000 the second year, which was kind of like venture capital to get us off the ground, and now we don't have state money in our third year. Now we just have the private money, and Frank has just done a video series of classes called Master Class, and we will earn a portion of the income off of that video. So we are trying to diversify ourselves, and part of going to USC would be how to do that in a smart way. Personally, when people ask what would success be for us, it would be to go out of business, because why should I have to do this, right? I would like to have a 10-year run, force the state and other people to see that this is the way to handle low-performing schools. And arts is not the only. They should have civics, they should have science, they should have all the things that were taken away from them that all the wealthy schools have regularly.
What about YOLA?
YOLA is fantastic. We're working with LA Phil right now, and we try to work with everybody. We want to be like a rising tide that lifts everybody. We don't want any nonprofit to think we're fundraising and getting money away from them. We're hiring them. So we are off. Pardon me?
Harmony Project.
Fantastic. We work with her, Margaret. We work with all these local, Get Lit, a lot of great local nonprofits we're hiring, partnering with. In fact, the kids that went to the White House were trained by Get Lit, who we paid to train. So we work with everybody. We want everybody to see the value of this so that all those little local nonprofits have help. They can fundraise off our name. They now have a presidential seal, so it helps them.
Question, how much have they returned some of these schools back to having music programs when I was in junior high school, things like that? And we were all of us can remember, they had a junior high school orchestra, senior orchestra, chorus, everything. How many have they brought them back?
Well, all of our schools, because we won't go in if they don't do it. So before we take a school, they have to commit to hiring at least one credentialed art teacher. And that's why most of these schools had never had an art teacher, because the district wouldn't do it. The minute we came in and said, well, we'll come, but you've got to pony up, and then all of a sudden they're, okay, we'll do it. It's just a crime that they don't do it until we get there, But now that they've seen the impact and they're comparing that school to the other district schools, now they're starting to roll it out in other schools. Like, we've had districts go district-wide. San Diego, the superintendent issued $3 million in Title I arts grants and spread it to 23 other low-performing schools in San Diego based on the success of that school. So that's the impact we really want to have, is get them to do it.
And they're not low-performing anymore.
No, that's the goal. That's the goal. I saw your hand.
Are they learning notes? I'm a musician. Are they learning notes?
Yes. They're learning to read
They're
music.
reading and they're able to do that.
Yes.
And if they want to take up an instrument, how do they get those instruments if they come from low income?
We get them donated. The National Association of Music
Right.
Merchants has given us
Right.
instruments. The House of Blues Foundation has given us instruments. The Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers got a lot of Fender guitar. He got a lot of things donated, so we get them donated.
Okay. And on a scale, do you have any idea how we compare with other countries?
Oh, well, it's terrible, as you could imagine. I mean, other countries, first of all, I mean, this is a longer conversation, but other countries don't fund their schools based on property taxes, for one. That sets up a pretty large discrepancy, right? Because if you're in Beverly Hills, the property taxes are a lot higher than in Watts. So, you know, other countries don't do that. Thank you.
I just want to comment on the international education question. I had the opportunity of visiting schools in 6 countries, and whether you were in a mountain school with, say, 25 students, or you were in a lycée, and lycée is in, you know, a high school with would be equivalent to one of our very best ones, you can see the same education. You can see the theme running throughout. There's no discrepancy there. Those kids in the mountain are learning the exact same things.
Right.
5 languages.
That's right.
And all of the other things that kids learn in school.
That's right.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And 2 questions. Does Common Core have an arts component?
Yes.
And secondly, since this program was started and I think is dependent on people like you and Michelle Obama, what's the chance of this program continuing?
Well, one of the things they did going into this election cycle was they did 2 things. They made the program too big to kill, which was going from 8 to 68, and then they moved it to the Kennedy Center. So they moved it out of the President's Committee because there was some talk about getting rid of the NEA and the President's Committee, and so now we are a program. We still have the presidential seal, and we are a program of the Kennedy Center as of 3 months ago. So it's safe there, yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you who spent so much of your day. I know how busy people are and how valuable your time is. I want to thank Jim and Richard for inviting me. I was so flattered when they called me. I thought, are you sure you don't want my husband to come? So, but thank you. I admire all of you and respect what you're doing. I'm over 50 myself, so I think lifelong learning is a very important thing. And thank you for having me. I'm very grateful.